Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Bhaktavinda. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namo Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschimadi Sutta. So, Hare Krishna, we're reading from Transcendental Diary, Travels with His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada by Hari Sauridas. September 11th, 1976. Prabhupada's health is not very good. He has been suffering from high blood pressure for several days, and today he has toothache. Indeed, he seems to be suffering a general decline in health and strength. At this time last year, he was striding strongly down the road every morning for at least 1 hour and seemed quite full of vigor. Now he rarely takes such walks. Last December, he once rose from his desk, radiant with youthful energy, and declared, "I'm an old man, I will never grow old." Now, just the other day, as I followed him up the staircase to go up onto the roof, I watched as he strained to get to the top, pushing himself up the last few steps with his cane. He paused for a moment to rest and, half turning to me, said with a smile, "Now I am old." Harikesh Maharaj has also been noting the gradual change in Prabhupada's physical condition. He came during massage one day and watched as I kneaded Srila Prabhupada's arms and biceps. Seeing his soft flesh and muscle give easily under the pressure of my fingers, Harikesh shook his head and said to me in sympathetic lamentation, "You don't understand. Just a year or two ago, those muscles were firm and tight." Srila Prabhupada just laughed. So Srila Prabhupada, this is 1976, almost 1 year before Prabhupada left, and yeah, his health starts declining. Sorry, my voice is not very good. Um, so he would say three things gave him good health: Ayurveda medicine, massage, and morning walks. So he had a stroke in 1967, and he didn't want to go to the hospital. I think we have heard this, but the devotees didn't know what to do, and they were asking him what's gonna happen if somebody if if there is some emergency, what should we do? And Prabhupada would say, just chant Hare Krishna. Just chant Hare Krishna. But they took him to the hospital, and they were just trying to hit him with syringe, all just testing on his body. And he just told Gargamuni, he said, "Just take me out of here." And Gargamuni just got hold of the wheelchair and he just ran through the hospital. with doctors were shouting, "Hey, stop, stop! He's not done yet." So, um, and before, I think when he was just admitted, there was one doctor, and Brahmananda Prabhu was with him, and this doctor was um, telling Prabhupada, "This old man is praying too much. You should also take some walks. You should do some exercise, don't just pray." The doctor was giving advice to Prabhupada. And when they went back, Brahmananda Prabhu was saying, "Sorry, Prabhupada, the doctor doesn't understand you properly." And Prabhupada said, "No, actually, he was right. Actually, he was right." So from there, he started his daily morning walks. From that time, he took advice from the doctor and he started his morning walk. And he never stopped uh, until his like, even he when the schedules were so crazy, he would go for morning walks. In when he was in Zurich for I think just 2 or 3 days, he was up in the mountains and it was snowing so heavy. So he would take his walk in the hotel corridor. So he never stopped. And he would always be exactly right before the morning greeting of the deities. And sometimes he would go to parks and devotees would drive him so interesting places and so we can hear these conversations of Prabhupada where he just explaining the world to his devotees how to see the world through Krishna consciousness. And so that was one of those places where Prabhupada also engaged in discussions about so many things. For example, there are at least I know 2 books we have that came from those morning walks. One is Life Comes from Life. The other is I think they call it dialectic spiritualism. Uh, so this first book was Conversation with Prabhupada during those morning walks. Um, the second, I think Shyam Sundar Prabhu asks Prabhupada, "What do you think about this philosopher? This philosopher?" And Prabhupada gives reply. So yeah, morning walks and so many. I think we have few books of just morning walks. So yeah, Prabhupada took care of his health. He said, he wrote in a letter to one of the disciples, he said, "Health comes first, then sadhana, then your service, then your reading." Is that right? Yeah. Health comes first, then your sadhana, then your service, then your reading. He wrote to a disciple. So without health, we can't do anything. Service and then reading. Yeah. Some devotees don't like this, but at least he wrote to a devotee in letter. Some say that he just told to that devotee, not to everyone. Yes. Please. I have an idea. Uh-huh. But about morning walking after breakfast. Then take make harina and walking and distribute holy name in hand. One nice idea. Every day after breakfast. And we can do for health and distribute holy name. Yeah. Yeah, we can try. Maybe we can start today. Yeah. That's option. Reading fast. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji, for the idea. I like the idea, but we can discuss. um, yeah, anything anyone would like to add? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, chapter 6, text 100. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nanda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda 100. Pratiyuge Karena Krishna Yuga Avatara Tarka Nishta Hriday Tomar Nahika Vichara Pratiyuge Karena Krishna Yuga Avatara Tarka Nishta Hriday Tomar Nahika Vichara Pratiyuge Karena Krishna Yuga Avatara Tarka Nishta Hriday Tomar Nahika Vichara Tarka Nishta Hriday Tomar Pratiyuge Karena Krishna Yuga Avatara Tarka Nishta Hriday Tomar Nahika Vichara Pratiyuge Karena Krishna Yuga Avatara Tarka Nishta Hriday Tomar Nahika Vichara Pratiyuge Karena Krishna Yuga Avatara Tarka Nishta Hriday Tomar Nahika Vichara Word for word. Pratiyuge, in every age or millennium. Karena makes. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Yuga Avatara, incarnation for the age. Tarkanishta, hardened by argument. Hridaya, heart. Tomara, your. Nahika, there is not. Vichara, consideration. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gopinath Acharya continued, there is certainly an incarnation in every age, and such an incarnation is called the Yuga Avatar. But your heart has become so hardened by logic and argument that you cannot consider all these facts. There is no purport. Read the next verse. San varnastraho hiyasya grina tunyu gam tanu shuklo raktastatha pita idanim krishtangatha. Translation and purport. In the past, your son has had bodies of different colors according to the age. These colors were white, red, and yellow. In this age, Dwapar Yuga, he has accepted a blackish body. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-13 was spoken by Garga Muni when he was performing the rituals at Lord Krishna's name giving ceremony. He states that the incarnations of the Lord in other ages had been white, red, and yellow. This yellow color refers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose bodily complexion was yellowish. This confirms that in the past Kali Yugas, the Lord also had incarnated in a body that was yellow in hue. It is understood that the Lord incarnates in different colors for the different yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. Accepting the color yellow, Pita, as well as other characteristics, the Lord incarnated as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the verdict of all Vedic scriptures. Sri Chaitanya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Rama. So I think yeah. One question, just understand who is speaking to whom? This is Gopinath Acharya is a relative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. They are in Jagannath Puri, and this is after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was unconscious and brought to the home of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya cannot recognize that this is Krishna himself, and he is presenting the argument. The Lord does not take birth in Kali Yuga. He is called Tri Yuga. He speak about son, your son. Yes. 100 a son. Yeah. This is a quote. Your son. This is actually not. Yeah, this for Krishna. This is spoken by Garga Muni. Prabhupada writes in the purport. This was spoken by Garga Muni to during the name giving ceremony. Garga Muni is the astrologer. So they invite Garga Muni and they read Krishna's chart, and then Garga Muni can see this person is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he says, your son, I think he's telling to Nanda Maharaj. So yeah, so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he is giving these arguments that Krishna is only three yuga. He only comes in three yugas, and Gopinath Acharya is again counteracting. So it's interesting, in those days, the arguments would be based on scriptures. Someone would say something from the scriptures, and the other person would say something from the scriptures. That's how the argument would go. But these days, nobody accepts scriptures, so that's why we one devotee is a learned devotee, but he recommended that devotees also should know how to argue with logic without presenting any basis of scripture. because people don't accept scripture as authority, but anything logical people have to accept. For example, we can just by logic say, we can by logic prove that we are not the body. Right? The body is changing. You are the same person. That means you are not the body. So that means, uh, yeah, I mean, you are not the body. So you are something beyond the body. So that by logic, I don't know I don't know if you understand logic, the word, um, how do you say logic in Deutsch? Logik. Uh, Prabhu, you understand logic? Yeah. So yeah, at least, um, yeah, people accept logic, uh, but again, they may not also, um, they may understand the logic, but they may not accept the logic, because people mostly don't come from a logical place. That's what I have realized. When you talk to people, they don't come from a logical place, they come from an emotional place. So unless someone is emotionally okay, they won't accept. Maybe if they are very honest with their intelligence, someone may accept, but most of the people, although you present Krishna consciousness very logically, very nicely, if there is no emotional, if they don't feel like it, they will just say, I don't accept what you're saying. So, I mean, that came up just because here the discussion is going on the basis of scriptures. And once Srila Prabhupada, one of his disciples, he said, I want to go and preach in India. And Prabhupada said, if you just learn 30 main slokas from Bhagavad Gita, you can preach to anyone in India. Because most of the people accept Shastra, and they are, if you say just few slokas from the Gita, that will actually establish Krishna consciousness. But in the Western world, when someone does not accept Shastra as the authority, yeah, then it may become, we may have to learn ways to do, ways to present Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada, he gave us many ways we can follow his example. So he also asked Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj to establish the science of Krishna consciousness with, according to scientific, so-called scientific, or I mean scientific methods. And yeah, there are times when he would say, in conversations, he would say something like, I'm not talking religion here, I'm just talking logic. Just by logic, you should accept this. He would talk with people like that. I'm not talking about, there is no question of religion right now. You don't have to believe me, anything what I'm saying, because I'm quoting some scripture. I'm just talking logic. There are conversations like this. Um, so in this, we can go to the purport. So Srimad Bhagavatam, when he was performing the rituals of Lord Krishna's name-giving ceremony, so he states the incarnations of the Lord in other ages had been white, red, and yellow. And so in Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali, Krishna incarnates. That's called the Yuga Avatar. Yuga Avatar. So every Yuga, and like it said here, white, red, and yellow. So we understand in one day of Brahma, Lord Chaitanya comes once. Krishna also comes once in one day of Brahma. And one day of Brahma has 1,000 yuga cycles. So, if I'm not wrong, there are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma. In each Manu, they rule for 71 yuga cycle, I think. And right now, we are in the 7th Manu, the 7th ruler. The first Manu, who was the first Manu? Anyone remembers? Swayambhuva. Uh, and we are in the 7th Manu. I think his name is Vaivasvata Manu. So we are in the 7th Manu, and it's Prabhupada writes this somewhere. It's I think I heard this from Sadaputa Prabhupada. So this is 50 years of Brahma already passed, and I don't know how many days, but 50 years of Brahma, this current Brahma, and so we are in the 7th Manu. This is the 29th Yuga cycle of this Manu. So this Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, rules until 71 of these Yuga cycles. So we are in the 29th Yuga cycle. And in the 29th Yuga cycle, in the Kali Yuga, we are on the Kali Yuga. And only in this Yuga cycle, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. So a little technical. And only in this Yuga, the cycle changes a little bit, I think, Satya. In other Yuga cycle, when Krishna is not appearing, it's actually Satya, Dwapar, Treta, and Kali. Because Treta means third, three. But in the Yuga cycle where Krishna appears, it changes Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. I'm not sure exactly why. Not right? I heard this.
Brahma is Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. But
Okay.
as Krishna appears, then waren solche Verhältnisse, solche Verhältnisse, wie in Treta Yuga, solche Verhältnisse. Das heißt, war Natur so, aber das hat sich nicht gewechselt. Satya Yuga ist viermal größer als Kali Yuga, Treta Yuga ist dreimal größer, Dwapara zweimal. Deswegen diese Bezeichnungen. Das hat sich nicht gewechselt, nur die Verhältnisse waren zum Schluss von Krishna kam.
Okay.
Das ist, hat jemand gesagt, auch so von unseren Gurus, aber sie haben das nicht richtig übersetzt wahrscheinlich, weil das hat, die Yugas wechseln sich nie. Nur wenn Krishna kommt, dann sind solche Umstände wie in Treta Yuga.
Okay.
In Bhakti Shastra.
Okay.
So it's time to count from like Kali Yuga and then Dvapara. Then taking on the one
Okay.
four.
Thank you for. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Krishna appears in Satya Treta Dwapar, end of Dwapar Yuga, and so after Krishna disappears, then the Kali Yuga starts. So and immediately after Krishna disappears, that Yuga cycle, you have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming. So I was just trying to explain that how rare the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, and how rare the appearance of Krishna is. But Srila Prabhupada explains that these pastimes are going on throughout many different universes, just like the sun. The sun is never invisible, but it just comes in front of your eyes, and then it's setting again. but the sun is always there. So Krishna's pastimes are always going on. And if a devotee, um, I heard this from Tamakrishna Maharaj, I think, uh, and it is said in maybe Sri Brihad Bhagavatam read that when a devotee, after they leave the body, then they get training in the place where Krishna is performing pastimes. That is very sweet. They go to this place where Krishna is performing pastimes before they go back to uh, the spiritual world, and they receive training there, how to serve Krishna, how to. So what we are being trained actually is also um, in so many ways right now in this body also is something we're training, getting trained for the future, how to how to how to approach Krishna, and when Krishna is in front of us, what do we do? You know, when a great personality is in front of us, what do we do? Generally, we glorify the person. We offer prayers. So we are practicing, and Srila Prabhupada he gave us different ways to approach Krishna, so we can practice for our next life. Someone even said you should practice milking the cows, but you know, yeah. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears very merciful. He's the most merciful incarnation. He's the how do you say Channa avatar. Is hidden, and that's one argument that Gopinath Acharya gives. Because your heart is so hardened by logic and argument, you cannot consider all these facts. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a learned Brahmana. He had quite some knowledge about the Shastras, but it's Gopinath Acharya, he says, your heart is hard. So yeah, the heart can be hard by learning. We become maybe proud, something. So, and then you're not able to even understand something very simple, like Prabhupada says in the Maya Paritagyan. Your knowledge is stolen by illusion. You have the knowledge, but somehow it's the real thing. What is the real thing is blocked. It's totally blocked from your vision. And forgot what I was trying to say. Yeah, logic and argument. Yeah, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, and there is another instance of, I think it was Prakasananda Saraswati, when he was, when he heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I think some Mayavadi philosophers, they go up to Prakasananda Saraswati and they report that Chaitanya is here, Chaitanya is here. And the devotee who was there, I think it was Tapan Mishra, he comes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he's not very happy, and he says, they can't even recite your name Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says something like, because they are offenders in a way, their heart is so hard, they are not even able to say Krishna Chaitanya, they just say Chaitanya. So when the heart is hard, we can look at ourselves how when at some points if we commit maybe some offenses, then it becomes very difficult also to chant. If then yeah, it's like Kalamagana Maharaj would say something like, when imagine Krishna is sitting behind a devotee smiling, and when you say something, when you offend or say some criticize unnecessarily about the devotee, then imagine that smile turning very sad. So, um, so Krishna is a personality, and when he does not like devotees being offended, so when we make offenses, the heart also becomes hard. That's what I have realized. Offenses to the devotees or offenses in our services. So that's why we recite 10 offenses every day to protect us from from these offenses, so we can chant properly. Before Srila Prabhupada would give initiation, and every time after that, anyone who gave initiation, it's a tradition to recite these 10 offenses, just to remind us that we need to be careful in executing our Krishna consciousness. And many weeds may grow. It is said the devotional creeper is like a small bhakti lata. It's a small, very tender creeper. Like we have new Tulsi Maharani there, right? So she is very tender. You have to take very nice care, otherwise she will uh, vanish. So our devotional creeper is also very tender, and we have to make fences. We have to protect, and the example is given of the first to offend the devotees of being like mad elephant offense. So an elephant, when it goes into a garden, it destroys everything, and a mad elephant destroys almost everything. So uh, someone offends a devotee, then that garden of devotional service is destroyed. Mm. So we have to carefully tend to this bhakti latta bij, which is very tender, and so many weeds may also grow slowly. So many um, unwanted things which may look like it's uh, it's a valid, it's an actual plant. Sometimes around Tulsi Maharani you can see some other things growing, and if one does not know which one is Tulsi, which one is not Tulsi, then you won't know which one to plug out. What if accidentally you plug out Tulsi Maharani? So similarly, the Bhakti Lata Bij is growing by watering of chanting, but sometimes the weeds grow, and it's needed. We have to always take out, be careful to take out those weeds on a regular basis. It's not just like once. For example, Srila Prabhupada also um, told devotees to uh, go to Dham once a year. Of course, it's difficult to go every year now that the prices are so high. But something like this, um, So we have to observe that our devotional kripa is not getting destroyed by anything. This is the most precious thing we have. And there are many weeds. I think it's explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his book uh, Madhurya Kadambini. So different kinds of weeds that may come up when you are executing devotional service. I don't have the details, but all these things can make our heart hard. That's the point. And it may look like we are doing everything, nicely from the outside, but it may not be the devotional kripa we are watering. So one thing we can do is just really reflect on our daily spiritual practice, on if we are doing our daily practice properly, if we are um, doing it with the right intention. You can always question. If I know few devotees who actually record their chanting so they can hear later how they actually chanted. Because when you are chanting, you think, oh, I'm chanting very nicely. But when you record and you hear later on, you can see you are missing uh, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Rama. You are missing these. Sometimes you are missing. One devotee tells a joke that when a devotee was dying, and then two people, very strange people came, and he was like, I've chanted Hare Krishna all my life. Why did you come? And the two-person, horrible-looking person said, this is my brother Nish Nish, and this is Kish Kish. Nish Nish, Kish Kish, Nish Nish. It's a joke, but it's just to say we have to reflect on how we are chanting, also in what mood we are chanting. If we are lucky, someone will correct us. If we are lucky, but a lot of times people have their own life. And if you don't ask for correction by yourself, it's difficult for also for devotees maybe. But if someone is merciful, they may correct us. And we need correction. We need guru in our life. Prabhupada says there are two types of Bhagavad, person Bhagavad and the book Bhagavad. The difference is that the person Bhagavad can come and pull your ear. This is not good. That's person Bhagavad. The book Bhagavad, it's nice. You can, it's Krishna in the form of literature, but it's good to have someone. It's actually fortunate to have someone correct you. We should take it as a good fortune, because people are just, imagine people are just walking in the street, nobody's correcting them, nobody cares about their spiritual life. But if we have some devotees who correct us, that is our good fortune. And even if they may not be able to correct us in every ways, we should fly our own plane. Kadamba Maharaj gives this example that when you are in a plane before flying, um, it is being looked at by all the engineers. The engineers come and they see that if the blade is rotating properly and if the wheels are up and down, everything inside they check. But once you fly the plane, you are on your own. The pilot cannot receive all these help. So he would say, you have to fly your own plane. We can receive as much help from our guru, from other devotees, but unless we make the effort to fly our own plane and to take charge of our devotional kripa, then it's not possible to fly the plane. So I just want to end. Sorry, I just want to end with being how do you say? Contemplative is the word. Like just observing your daily practices and seeing where you can improve and how you can improve. Um, because Krishna is non-different from his names, and if sorry, Krishna is not different from his names, and if the chanting is not done attentively, um, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that is the root cause of all the offenses. The 11th offense is the root cause of all the other 10 offenses, not chanting in attentively. So when you give focus to your sadhana and you reflect on your practice, then we can improve. We can make sure that our Bhakti Lata Bij is watered properly, is not uh, is not outgrown by weeds, and it's not destroyed. We do not accidentally plug it. So yeah, would you anybody like to add anything or comment?
In the Yuga Avatar. Vaisa Yuga Avatar, das war Krishna Gata. Druga Maharaj, war in Sacisuta. Dann Rota Yuga Avatar war Yagya Sena, weil Yagyas waren in dritter Yuga, also das Yuga Dharma. Er war rot, Krishna wissen, er war schwarz. Wurde nur wegen dieses Teil noch hinzufügen. Vorstellen können, warum diese Farben waren.
What are they again? Satya.
One is Satya Yuga meditation. Krishna Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj hat meditiert sehr stark. Und im Theta Yuga war Yagya Sena, Yagya. Krishna kam als Yagya Sena und sagte, macht jetzt Opferungen, geht hinterher der Opferungen. Und dann kann ich eure Wünsche erfüllen und dann könnt ihr zurück zum Schluss zu mir zurückkommen. Moksha.
Okay, and so Treta, Krishna comes and Kali, Chaitanya. Anyone else will want to add something? No?
Once I heard from one Russian preacher, now actually he's now also their group, initiating group. Said once that when devotees have some problem, this is not the offense. When they don't understand each other, the offense is when they don't clarify afterwards. Because we always think that offense is to say something when actually when we always hide in ourselves. This is also not good, but we have to try to speak it, but in the appropriate way. That it can clash with their
ego.
Mind, the ego of others. But this is not the offense. Offense is not to try to clarify something. This is to let it be like the time, somehow let it let it
Mm. Mm.
we have to invest in our relationship. We have to show Krishna this is important for me. The relationship with devotees for me is the greatest value than Krishna per se. But we will never be that everybody has the same opinion. It will never. No. This is utopia. That everybody has the same. This is not what is. What is missing that we cannot actually afterwards we cannot clarify.
Communication.
The Goethe, the German writer, said that the people are what unites the people is their like what mindset, worldview, like more like I know in German, I don't know in English. Worldview, and what is separating people, their opinions. Everybody has his opinion. This is good. That's good. Because we have our nature. We have different understanding of. But we have to see what unites us, what us
divides. Thank you. Caitanya Charitamrita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Prabhupada.